Hey guys, Suja over here. Welcome back to another video. So I'm here right now. It's afternoon time. I'm here in Saigon, District 1. Just thought of coming out here to Ho Chi Minh City, also known as Saigon. So today I want to talk about a very interesting topic which was given to me by one of my subscribers. So, and I'm going to be talking about, is Vietnam for everyone? So before I jump the gun and start yapping around, I just want to let you know that I've been living in Vietnam for over 7.5 years. I think nearly 8 years now. I was an English teacher before in Vietnam for over 4.5 years, and then I started my online digital marketing business. I'm also a full-time YouTuber, so if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. So yeah, I want to talk about this topic, right? So I'm not talking about coming and visiting Vietnam as a tourist. Definitely you should visit Vietnam as a tourist. It's a beautiful country. So many things to do and so many things to see in Saigon, Hanoi, and of course if you're going to Da Nang, and then of course Dalat, then Hoi An and all those other locations. Vietnam is a very beautiful country. It's a very budget friendly country, and you'll see a lot of tourists, especially a lot of backpackers. They love to come to Vietnam because it's a very budget friendly country, right? And of course I always recommend foreign tourists to come to Vietnam. It should be in your bucket list for sure. It should be in your bucket list when you're coming to Vietnam to visit this beautiful country. But I'm going to be talking about expats who are living out here. I'm talking about living out here for over 6 months now. So because I've been living here for so long, so I'm not talking about, this video is not for tourists, right? There are a lot of YouTube channels which you can watch catered for foreign tourists who are going to come to Vietnam, things to do in Vietnam. So you can watch those videos, right? But if you're an expat and if you're living out here in Vietnam long term, so yeah, I want to just talk about this topic, because I know I may get a bit of heat by making this video, but I'm originally from India, all right? So I'm not a Western tourist. I'm not a Western tourist. I'm not a European tourist. Let me just walk a bit this way. It's a bit noisy, kids, right? So I'm not a Western tourist. I'm not a European tourist. And I'm a person of color. I got brown skin, right? I got dark brown skin. I love myself. I love who I am. If you're a person of color, always love yourself, respect yourself. And so, to be honest with you, as a person of color living out here in Vietnam for so many years, I have encountered a lot of friction. Now, friction in a sense, like, I have been discriminated. I have also encountered racism. Not point blank on my face, but like things like getting some good treatment, or going to some coffee shops, or going to some malls. I always get that friction, you know what I mean, if you're a person of color. So of course, and that kind of hurts my feelings, as a person of color. And of course, the everyday way of life, like the traffic, the hustle bustle, the pollution. And that's the reason why, I've been living in the countryside for 2.5 years now, because I have underlying conditions, and I have a sensitive lung. And yeah, I developed I developed my coughing problem. My coughing, I've developed this chest congestion due to the pollution out here in Vietnam. And of course, I was in Hanoi for 2.5 months, and Hanoi, the pollution level was really bad. I think right now Hanoi is ranked the worst polluted city in Asia, number one, right? So yeah, I mean, let me keep it over here. So yeah, I do have a lot of challenges. I do face second class treatment. I mean, I've been to Thailand many times. I've been to Bangkok many times. So definitely, to be honest with you, I feel more comfortable. I feel more comfortable in Thailand because they are kind of used to all types of tourists, right? I don't get stared upon. I don't get that second class treatment. You know, I don't get discriminated. I don't get those hateful looks by most of the Vietnamese people. And you know, of course, you know, most of these Vietnamese people, when they see me, they cough around me. So yeah, there is a big problem of there's a very big stereotypical problem out here. And of course, you know, I hate to say this, but you know, Vietnamese love to worship white tourists. You know, they love white expats. And you know, there's a lot of white privilege out here, you know. So I mean, I'm taking me for an example. I'm not talking about other expats, but I've also heard of many instances where foreigners who are people of color, you know, that they have encountered a lot of friction. And so you got to ask yourself, like, is Vietnam really meant for everyone? Now surely you know, it's going to be very, very wrong for me to say that Vietnam is like Singapore, because you know, this talk of the town going around that, you know, Vietnam is going to be the next Singapore. I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon, at least for the next 10 years. Because like, if you go to a dynamic country like Singapore, or if you go to Malaysia, so you got a lot of different types of foreigners. Especially you got Malays, and you also got foreigners, you know, they are like Malays, Indians, you know, they all live in harmony, right? So they all live in harmony. So let me just walk around, because I think I got some agent behind my ass, right? So the thing what I want to say out here is Vietnam is not like Singapore, for sure. And that's the reason why a person, you know, a foreigner like me, a person of color, you know, I do encounter a lot of challenges, a lot of friction, a lot of second class treatment. And you know, don't get me wrong, you know, like most Vietnamese, they're not used to all different kinds of foreigners. You know, like, you know, I've like the other day I went to Ben Thanh Market, and oh my god, you know, like I saw a couple of these street shop vendors working inside Ben Thanh Market. They're shouting and screaming at Indian tourists, treating them very poorly. And the Indian tourists, those Indian tourists, female tourists, they were like talking very nicely, calmly. But I do see a huge dislike. I'm sorry to say this, I do see a huge dislike of hatred towards Indian tourists now here in Vietnam, especially here in Saigon, you know. And of course, you know, like if you watch these YouTube videos, you know, like you type Undo, you get a lot of negative content about India, because I am from India. I've also spoken a lot of negative things about my country, you know, because my channel is straight up no BS. I don't like to make those kind of videos where I talk about 10 things to do. You know, I don't like to glorify anything, right? You know, my channel is not like a chocolate channel where I'm going to be making everything sugar coated. You know, my channel is straight up no BS, so I like to speak my mind, right? So yeah, I mean, I think Vietnam's got another my best guess would be another 5 years for them to really get adjusted with different types of foreigners, right? Now, let me pan it out over here. Different types of foreigners, because right now what I see is predominantly a lot of Chinese tourists, a lot of Korean tourists, a lot of Japanese tourists, and of course you do have also like Indian tourists, but I do see a lot of dislike also towards Indian tourists, and especially towards Indians. I mean, I'm not making this up. I'm an Indian, so I'm saying this from my personal experience. So yeah, I mean, so I think it's got another 5 years to go. Because I understand that I'm in a socialist country. Like, I come from one of the biggest democracies in the world. I'm not talking about the government institutions, but I like to keep my channel very realistic. As a person of color, right? Because I'm talking about black people. I'm talking about me as a human being, as a person. And of course, I'm always very down to earth, and I'm always very genuine with people who want to mix with me, who want to integrate with me. So, like, I've been living out here in Vietnam for over 7.5 years. But it's just that so sunny. It's just that I've never had any Vietnamese people coming to me, making friends with me. I've always had that kind of second-class treatment out here. I never felt this like in Thailand, in Bangkok, especially because, whenever I go to the coffee shops, or if I go to the malls out there, they always greet me. They're always polite and everything, but I think it'll take some time. It'll take another 5 years for the mindset to change, for the Vietnamese people to really start accepting different types of foreigners. I mean, I'm not, to understand. So yeah, I mean, so like I said, I don't think Vietnam is for everyone. Definitely do come to this beautiful country, explore Vietnam, a lot of things to see, but in terms of long-term stay, I think that's going to be very challenging, especially if you're a person of color. And in general, I've been told Vietnam is not a retiring country. I mean, it's more into manufacturing. I mean, you don't have visa-friendly. I mean, you don't have, long-term visas, different types of long-term visas here in Vietnam, unlike in Thailand, where you have a lot of options to retire in Thailand, but of course that costs a lot of money. And this is where actually Vietnam can capitalize. They can come up with these long-term visas, like digital nomad visa and all those different kind of visas, long-term visas, half the cost, more reasonable, so that foreigners can live longer out here in Vietnam. I remember, because I came to Vietnam back in 2015, and I think till 2019 you had those 6 months visas, the 1 year visas, and so yeah, I mean, the 6 months visas, the 1 year visa, which I had no problem paying at a very nominal cost. So yeah, so I think this is something which actually Vietnam can look into. So yeah, I mean, this is my personal answer. I don't think Vietnam is for everyone. And of course, Vietnam does have a problem with accepting different types of foreigners, because still, like foreigners, who are people of color, they do encounter friction. I'm not talking about Westerners out here. I'm talking about different types of foreigners, like maybe Indian expats living out here in Vietnam long term or whatever. Because yeah, so that's my honest intake. I would love to hear from you. Like, do you feel Vietnam is for everyone? Have you had any challenges out here in Vietnam? You can drop it down all in the comment section below. If you found this video to be informational, you can always buy me a coffee. The link is down in the description below. And you can also pick up a Sujoy in Vietnam t-shirt. That way you can support my content. So with that being said, have a great day. This was me, Sujoy. Peace out.